Okay, it's live.
We're live. I can't wait to say hi to everyone, all of our Thai viewers, bot viewers.
Bot viewers, dude. Yeah, I created some bots to watch.
Cool. Good. Dude, hey, if Elon Musk does it, the billionaires are doing it, it can't be that bad.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let's see. I'm starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, dude. The sode is looking good for the most part. We just need an intro, and I think we're ready to go.
No can do.
What?
Not writing an intro this week because of solidarity.
Solidarity? Solidarity with whom?
With the writers, man. Like, the writers are on strike now, like all of them. And I can't be here writing for the podcast. I'd be like a scab or something if I did that.
JD, I don't think that's how strikes or solidarity even work. Are you even a member of the WGA?
What's that? Is that basketball?
I didn't read through this beforehand. Now I gotta start over. You got me. Sometimes you get me.
I boomed you. That's my favorite thing is when I boom you on
dang
these.
it. I was not ready for that. All right, now we gotta start over. Here we go.
Okay.
Take two.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang it. Once I have a mistake, it's hard to come back.
Yeah, good luck.
All right. All right, dude. The soda's looking good for the most part. We just need an intro, and I think we're ready to go.
No can do.
What?
I'm not writing an intro this week, because it's solidarity.
Solidarity? Solidarity with whom?
With the writers, man. Like, the writers are all on strike now, and I can't be here writing for the podcast. I'd be like some scab or something if I did that.
I don't think that's how strikes or even solidarity work, JD. Are you even a member of the WGA?
What's that? Is that basketball?
Never mind. Don't worry about the intro this week. I'll just write it myself.
You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm Scab D.
And this is Peterson.
And we're here to bring you a completely scab run show. Peterson Productions exclusively employs scabs.
Well, I actually, Lily is on strike this week, and I'm still going. So I'm technically the scab for Peterson Productions.
Which means he has to toot in his own office tonight.
I hate it.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. Alrighty then. Our news this week is brought to us by Crave. Crave cookies.
Crave! I'm going to get you every time. I wait for you to talk, and then I hit it.
Son of a bitch bastard. Crave Cookies is this amazing cookie shop. Let's see. There's one in Utah. There's a couple in Utah. There's one in Florida. There's one in Tennessee. A couple going in Arizona like this month, I think. Guys, Crave Cookies is a cookie shop that is no longer local. I'm just saying that. I gotta update my whole script.
It's worldwide now.
They're just like Pitbull.
The Pitbull of cookie stores.
So we get the inside drip on these cookies, and we'll tell you what's coming up next this week. Right now, we already talked about. They've got the new one that Trent's obsessed with, and apparently the fans are obsessed with, is the Toffee Caramel Crunch. And that one is a fan favorite. That one's out this week. But next week, they're rolling out the Peanut Butter Cup, the Flintstone, the Twix, the Mint Chip Brownie, and the Chilled Biscoff Oreo. I'm kind of glad Trent's not here this week, because now I can say That's kind of a boring week. What can I say? I'm spoiled. What can I see? I've seen them. I've seen it all. I've seen every week. I can say some are better than others.
That's
This one's
just
fucking boring.
those are like all
It's a
safe
filler week.
plays. Those are
Yeah.
all safe plays.
Trent's that's a week that's going to make some money for the franchisees. We'll just say that. So go down to Crave Cookies if you're within like 500 miles of one, which you probably are now. Or go to cravecookies.com to look at pictures of these and get your cookie on. The Rainbow Six Kickstarter has asked for more money from people who already backed the game. So the Michael Scott Paper Company strategy here, we're just going to
calling up your clients and telling them you're going to need them to pay more money now.
A little more money for that product that you haven't even delivered yet. In this case, this is a 2021 Kickstarter hosted originally by Mythic Games with the blessing of Ubisoft, who obviously owns the Rainbow Six license or whatever.
Maybe the blessing is a loose blessing because they have to. Ubisoft has given their blessing, and now they're asking the backers to give them more money. So Ubisoft blessing is real loose on this one.
They're blaming COVID, semi-valid, maybe last year, maybe the year before.
Yeah, it feels like late in the game to start blaming COVID.
I ordered Frostpunk pre-COVID, and they delivered it like a year ago, and it was motherfucking massive, and I'm pretty sure it was coming out of Poland. These guys, Mythic Games, as far as I can tell, are headquartered. Hey, there's our Thai bot streamer following our stream every week. I love that.
Nice.
So sorry for that. Mythic Games headquarters are only in Luxembourg and Paris, from what I can tell. So the idea is, I mean, they're saying, there were supplies that were hard to come by in the interim during the war with Ukraine. But didn't that start in 2022? And this Kickstarter launched in 2021? I don't know. That excuse is kind of weird, considering this isn't even the first time this has happened with Mythic Games. This happened the last time they had they had to go back to their funders. And that in that instance, they said 80% of people came back and gave them the money they requested, and they were able to publish the game. So they're like, dude, this works. Just give us the money. We promise it'll work this time.
Well, guys, no problem.
The check is in the mail, bro. I promise. So the original tiers here were $70, $200, and $270. Now, if you paid $70, they're asking for another $40. If you paid $200, they're asking for another $100. If you paid $270, they're asking for another $130.
Extra $130 after you already backed it for $200.
And you don't get anything really extra for that. You just get the thing. You don't even get the thing you ordered. You have a slightly higher chance of getting the thing you ordered if, like in the Prisoner's Dilemma, everyone else does the same fucking thing.
Dude, it's like
just the Kickstarter Prisoner's Dilemma that they've created here, where if everyone contributes, we all get out of prison. But if fewer than 80% don't, we're fucked. We're stuck with it.
We all deal with this. Oh man, this is rough.
Not funny.
Honestly, what a joke. Way to go, Mythic. This is honestly a killer of board games whenever they try to make a board game and have them come out. Underestimating your cost is such a huge issue.
The number one thing. And you get so excited. And the thing is a lot of these things, the costs, and if you pay attention, when I was exploring designing a tabletop game, I was listening to tabletop game design podcasts a lot. And they talk about that like every episode. They're like, guess what? Don't get overexcited. You've got to plan for this thing, or you'll have a garage full of these games, or you'll have all sorts of other problems because you haven't planned for this properly. But one of the other things they warn about is the success, is you fall victim to your own success. And Rainbow Six Siege, I think, has a big enough license, a big enough name, and a big enough fan base that they probably had too many people order for them to fulfill it at the level that they needed to fulfill. Because then you got to go to China, and then you got to get a bigger factory in China to build these things or make these things for you. So, yeah, it's tough, but I don't think they should reward Mythic for a second time for doing this. That's weird.
Dude, I would be like, oh, never mind, I'm out.
Yeah,
like,
give me my money. Give me my money back.
I'm not that into a. What is this?
I mean, it could work.
Rainbow Six.
Honestly, I'd rather play a
game?
Rainbow Six board tabletop game than a Rainbow Six Siege video game at this point.
Here's the thing, though. I haven't gone and looked at the Kickstarter. I should have gone in and looked at it, but I'm just looking at the one photo on this Kotaku story, and I can already tell there's too many things going on. Look at it. There is like setup. There's characters. There's like a tile on the table.
It's Frostpunk all over again.
It's too much. There's too much happening here.
It's Frostpunk all over again. It feels like that's what it was for me. There is a lot that they're asking to be produced here.
Yeah.
Actually, this is funny because this is about what you're right. This is about the same level of stuff that was being. I'm just looking up the Frostpunk board game Kickstarter because it was kind of similar levels of crap, but let's see. Just to get the game itself, it was way more than that. It was way more than 70. It was closer to like $150. So that's another thing they talk about on these is pricing these things properly.
Get it right out the gate.
And they definitely didn't. So yikes.
Man. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, I'm on the Kickstarter right now. So it looks like there's
low,
a lot
right?
of pieces.
$70 for that. If I got that in Target for $70, I would be skipping out the door.
There is a lot. Dude. Oh man, this Kickstarter is a mess. Knowing this story, their Kickstarter goal, and I get it, the goal that sometimes they set them low, but their goal they put for 100,000.
Ooh, that's not even worth getting out of that's not going to pay anybody that's working on this. $100,000 doesn't pay a single employee and get your game shipped. That's fucking crazy.
This either looks like this looks like way too much. This is the problem. They are doing not only just a crazy amount of like characters, but there's just pieces everywhere.
It's a bummer we couldn't get Aaron on this week because I would have loved to hear his input on this.
I know he was supposed to be on too, but he had
his background in this specific type of stuff. Like I'm sure he would have been red flagging this all over the place because that was his job.
Oh my God.
Was ordering these things for the games, right?
Yeah, this is what he did.
Making sure that they could supply these things, and so he would have said, "Nope, can't get all that."
This is crazy. Like, I'm talking
for
like
$70 for 70
8 of these,
8
of these, 2 of these, 20 of these, 1, 2 of these, 7 of these, 2 of these, 20 of these, 15 of these. I'm halfway through the list. Nope.
Dude, if you were just getting these in just meeples and little cubes, little resource cubes, you'd still be like, "That's a lot."
That's
a fucking lot.
This is so much
That's a lot of meeples.
Guys, I guess
20 meeples.
Here's the moral of this story. Video game and board game adaptions, these happen quite a bit. Not every video game is meant to be a board game adaptation. In fact, some of them are better as video games because there's too many things happening at once. And this is a great example of this. Like it's just so much happening that it's hard to even pay attention to. You got the rule book in front of you the whole time. Yeah, this is crazy. So anyway, well done, Mythic Games. On good luck asking I think it said there was like 100,000 backers or something like that.
Oh,
asking all these backers for more money. This is going down the toilet. That's my prediction. This
I hope
thing's
so.
Gone.
Apple is pushing hard to fix mobile gaming. So we talked about this. This actually came up on our Discord channel earlier. I think it was Phil that was bringing up how irredeemable mobile gaming is becoming. We've talked about this. more recently when we were talking about the Tomb Raider mobile game
yeah.
that was free on Netflix, and why was that good? Why were we playing that and addicted to it? For most of us, it was because we were playing the free-to-play version that didn't have a lot of ads and pop-ups and all sorts of shit. And so it ended up being just this very hyper addictive loop with none of the monetization into the middle of it. So you could just go nonstop, and it was fucking awesome. It was a mobile game for the first time in what seems like a decade that wasn't just trying to get at your wallet. And so that made it really notable. But for the most part, 99.9% of all mobile games are the same garbage, same shit, monetization in the form of kind of just valueless stuff.
Yeah.
In really what boils down to 90% of the time is just time gates. That is things that they put up artificially, gates that are built artificially to make you wait a set amount of time for things to recharge or refill gems or whatever tokens or gold or whatever.
Energy to do to do
Energy is a big
actions
one.
and things like that. I don't mind that one because then I stop playing. It gives me a stopping point.
It's funny. That's how I like it on Duolingo because it makes it more challenging. That's the only thing is it makes it more challenging. You pay money. It's like pay to win. I'm like, how am I going to learn? I don't need to like cheat myself at a language app I'm playing for myself. I'm not in school. Anyway, this has been a very notable part. And it seems like they've been kind of in a death spiral. Like they don't know how to get out of it. Like mobile games are like, okay, I know you guys don't like this, but how else are we going to make money? What else do we do? There's no platforms for us. There's nowhere for us to sell our things, and nobody's going to pay. There have been games that they've tried to sell for $1, $5, even $10 that are like standalone mobile games, and they just don't sell really well. So what do? Apple's answer is Apple Arcade, and their answer is not one that they're saying out loud. They're just kind of doing it. They're just doing it, and it's happening in the background. They're not marketing it. They're not promoting it. But it's Apple Arcade. It has 200 ad-free premium mobile games. You pay $5 a month for this. I don't know. I just have I don't think it's that bad for 200 games.
No, and it does have some standouts. Apple
Yeah.
Arcade does.
And they add a lot, and they do have unique titles.
Yep. And they do add, because I actually for a little while did the Google one.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called, but Google had their version of this, and I did it. And actually, it's pretty valuable if you want to just try a bunch of different mobile games. You can kind of get in there and play a bunch of them. And they even had like popular mobile games, but it was like we did with the Tomb Raider thing. It was you can't buy any. There's no microtransactions. The store, some of them countered that by like having the store there, but you had unlimited money.
Yeah,
Be like they just give you this unlimited money. So it was like cheating. That was kind of crappy because you could just like cheat your way through anything. But yeah, I mean, Apple has a handful of good games that I think are normally like cost games.
Yeah,
the TMNT game, that just came out.
Did you see that? What the car?
Yep, What the Car.
That looks hilarious.
Farming Simulator. Let's see.
So if you guys are listening and you play a lot of games on your phone, or just like one or two games, and you're like, they're kind of shitty, and I have to keep spending money, or they keep trying to get me to spend money.
Yeah.
If you've ever spent $5, just spend $5. And like Peterson said, try the Google one, try the Apple one. Kind of support this, because this may be the way to do it. Is they kind of set up their own Game Pass / Netflix version, and that's the way that these can be supported. I don't know. So that's what we got. Phil Spencer has apologized for how bad the Xbox exclusive Redfall sucks. And it sucks, folks. Oh, it sucks so bad. The critics really, really softballed it. They gave it a 62 total on Metacritic. You got 62 on the Xbox Series and 58 on PC. That's total combined critic scores. However, the user scores for those are 2.6 and 1.9 respectively out of 10.
Yeah.
So also Phil Spencer pointed out that the mock review scores were 10 points higher than the Metacritic scores. So they went into this thinking they get 72s and they got a 2.6.
Dude.
This is a big swing and a miss from Arcane Studios, Xbox, and just everyone involved in Redfall, the vampire game that looked okay.
I
if you
was
squinted and
honestly
didn't pay close attention.
I had this one on my radar for a while now because I knew it was coming out of Game Pass.
Yep. Free.
It's a
Why not?
multiplayer game that I was like, hey, telling the gaming group we can play this, guys, for and I did not imagine that this would be like our new game, but I imagined we could play this for a week or two just for fun.
Or play it one time.
And I honestly came out and I was like, hey, Redfall's out. I checked the reviews. Exclusively bad. They were all bad. And honestly, the consensus is that the game is not finished. This is so Phil Spencer came out and he was like, oh man, so sorry. He kind of blamed it on Arcane. But let's be honest, Arcane probably was not the ones who were being like, yeah, we're gonna ship this now. This game looks great. We're gonna ship it. This was a Microsoft call or a Bethesda call, the person who was shipping the game.
And that's what Phil Spencer kind of says, is he's like, he takes ownership and he's like, I'm sorry it sucked, but honestly delaying it wouldn't have made it suck less because it sucked at its core. The game sucked and like they could have taken more time polishing a turd, but he's basically was like, dude, Redfall just sucked. It's pretty brutal, this interview.
Well, I mean, yeah, so he
takes ownership for Xbox side because he's like, we have to rein this in. He's like, some studios come to us and they want to make a game like Grounded, and that's crazy and that's way out of the box, but we let them do that and it's great. Some people come to us and want to make Redfall, and apparently we have to keep an eye on that shit because this one fucking sucked.
Yeah, so I am not, and I will say Arcane is definitely to blame here because you're absolutely right. Like a lot of the reviews were like, oh, everyone said this game is unfinished, right? It is not finished. Yeah. That was the consensus. But also they were like, but the story's terrible, not even worth it. The world is bad. The world building is bad. The visuals behind it all are just honestly, like every aspect of the game got panned. And so, yeah, this game that had, I think, a lot of potential to. Do I think it was going to be huge? No, but I think it could have been fun. Yeah, I thought it could have been fun. But man, they just blew it. And honestly, this seems like the easiest type of game to not screw up terribly, right? This type of game where you're running through doing these missions on static maps, these horde types of things.
I think that exact attitude is why they fucking blew it, though.
Yeah.
Because they just went into it like, dude, this is just a standard game. You just run from point A to point B, grab a thing, and then you go to point C. But that's literally all you did all game long. Like every single mission was the exact same. They seemed to not understand. It was like this game was made by Chat GPT. It's just like almost fucking there, but not really. And then
they were like, instead of zombies, make it vampires. And like, dude, slam dunk, we got this
done. We don't need to make the rest of it. We got the game packaged. So the one thing that makes this stand out is that it is one of the very, very rare Xbox exclusives. So we don't see a lot of these. So there was a lot riding on this being good. And it was the opposite of good. It fucking sucked. So I think that does.
Can I make a prediction here?
Yeah.
So this game came out and it has been bad. right? That what's the next Microsoft game that everyone's looking forward to this year?
Well, Microsoft exclusive because
Yeah.
there's Starfield's coming out, but that's not
Starfield.
exclusive.
Well, yeah, but this is
So that's what I'm saying. There's
for
very
Game Pass.
rarely are these games, even the Microsoft owned ones, like the Bethesda ones, are they exclusive? This rarely fucking happens. It makes me think they're gonna never do it again.
Well, so here's what I think. I'm gonna make my prediction. What's it called? Starfield?
Yeah.
I always want to say Starfall. Why do I want to say that? I don't know why.
I have no idea.
Starfield is going to get delayed until next year. They cannot release a crapper. They can't do it. They can't put it out. Game Pass will start bleeding subscribers if their Game Pass day one games, if they have another one, that is terrible. So I think Starfield gets pushed back again to next year to avoid that happening, because it can't suck. That's my prediction. Starfield gets pushed again, 2024.
I will say this again, from what I read in this interview, it does not seem like Phil Spencer's takeaway was we need to throw more money at the studios or we need to give them more time or delay things. It really seemed like he just fucking hated his Redfall. That's why you want to say Starfall, because it's Redfall.
Yep.
He just hated Redfall. He thought the concept was terrible and it wasn't executed well. So this one just seems like sometimes there's like a movie that comes out and you're like, wow, how the fuck did that get made? It's got all like the big stars in it and it's just a real crapper. And it's like directed by some big name director and the studio's normal and everything. The writer is fine, but it just sucks. That's kind of what this is. I think we just kind of got a shitter. And so I don't know that there's that much to draw from it, other than if anyone's like, I bought an Xbox for the exclusives, they feel like an idiot because Halo, now this, like, just shit in your hands.
They've been losing on the exclusives.
Yeah, not great. If you're if you're buying for exclusives, if you're not buying for Game Pass, you're an idiot. You should have bought a PS5. But if you're buying for Game Pass, you should get an Xbox or a PC. But yeah, this is a real bummer for the vampire people.
Team Jacob.
The writers of Hollywood are striking, so now we can finally all get caught up on all of our shows.
We know what this means. We saw this in what, 2008? We saw this, and okay, I love this. I love this because we know what's going to happen. First off, all the shows in production right now are going to suck. Just forget about it.
And half of them dead. Probably more than half.
Guys, and some of these are big shows. There are some big shows that said, well, we're just going to finish it off because they were like almost done or did a lot of filming. They still got some stuff.
The latest Game of Thrones.
Yes. What's it called? Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon season 2. They're going to finish it off without the writers
shooting their first shoots. So now they can't do any reshoots. If they do, I guess I don't know who would write for them. So it's all just going to have to be done in the editing room. No reshoots.
From what
Imagine
I've
heard, a whole season of an HBO series with no reshoots.
And from what I've heard, like reshoots and rewrites and stuff often come in late. They're a big deal. Like
there are
some
a lot
big
of
changes. Because that's a thing.
The other one, entire storylines come from those reshoots.
Dude, the other one is that Amazon Lord of the Rings show.
I could leave these ones.
Same thing.
I didn't watch either of these. I'm like, fucking whatever.
I watched both of
them. They can die. I don't care.
Okay,
and they'll be so forgotten about. If they get lost here, they will not even be in the public like memory in 5 years. No one will remember a fucking thing about them.
Well, but here's the problem though with the Lord of the Rings one. That was their most expensive show to date, and it didn't do great. And
Heroes was expensive too, and they died on the spire of the writer's strike.
Oh, that was so bad. That one was probably one of the biggest.
So it was fucking Lost. I mean, they didn't die, but it did take some weird fucking turns.
But these shows that are going to finish off their season We already know they're gonna suck. This
They're
season
gonna shit their
is
pants.
gonna be real bad.
It will be the season of reality TV once more.
Yes, and then we're gonna have this, as JD kind of alluded to in the headline, we're gonna have this 2-year span of nothing. There is nothing new that is worthwhile coming out. And then we're gonna get some good stuff. Then we go
Some
into
really good stuff.
Then we go into a golden era because
That's what we did.
Absolutely. Writers come back. They've got some fervor. They're honestly a little bit fresher. Things have changed for them a little bit. So we're going to go into a golden era, but guys, we are going into a 2-year lull. So catch up on all the shows you haven't watched. This is going to be a great time for it. The new stuff that comes out, honestly, most of it's going to be an easy pass. So yeah, this is writer's strike is going to be. Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, it was like let's see, the season 4 of The Office was the writer's strike season. Every season of any of the major binging series, so Parks and Rec, The Office, 30 Rock, they all have their own writer's strike season that's shorter and shittier. But like Peterson said, a lot of them came out, the stuff after it was really good.
The new shows we're going to get are going to be good, right? And so this is
this doesn't really, if this isn't necessarily directly tied to the gaming industry, but there are a number of gaming shows, TV shows, and movies out there now, more this year than ever before. So
after Mario, they're saying like, oh, is video game movies the new Marvel movie? Because Mario made so much money
to find out. Because nothing else. I will just give a quick rundown because I thought this stuff was interesting. This is 11,500 film and TV writers belonging to the WGA, the Writers Guild of America. They're negotiating with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which is represents 8 major studios: Amazon, Apple, Disney, Warner Bros., Discovery, NBC, Universal, Netflix, Paramount, and Sony are all negotiating against the writers. This is the first time, like Peterson said, in 15 years. And just some context, since 2018, the last 5 years, inflation adjusted pay for screenwriters has fallen 14%, according to this guild. So what's been happening, long story short, is the streaming and the switch and the moving over to streaming has allowed all of these producers and production companies to claw back money from the screenwriters, because I'm sure that's a huge fucking output. The people that are making like $80,000 for a season, that's a huge one. That's less than you pay on billboards for like one stretch of freeway in LA, you fucking clowns. That's so crazy. So what they're doing is they're taking advantage, because these are shorter seasons. So you have like an 8-episode mini season of something on Netflix. So you look into like the old rules, and no fucking real season of any TV show prior to the streaming in like 2010 would have ever been that long. So the rules and the pay requirements don't account for that. So you just pay these writers dick. They call them mini rooms, and they just pay people like nothing for these shows. And sometimes, like, think about fucking Chernobyl, Peterson. Like, that's like 6 episodes, but it's all very well written stuff. But if you're paying these guys based on old WGA guidelines from the early 2000s, then it won't account for that, and you'd be paid for the same that you would for example, the first season of the U.S. Office, which was 6-8 episodes before it got picked up. And if it hadn't gotten picked up, those writers would have gotten paid nothing, like $5,000, like nothing. And that's what everyone is getting paid always now because of streaming. And they're like, hey, this seems fucked up. Can we get paid better, a little bit more? And the AMPTP is like, no, fuck you. Just like go on strike or get fucked. Because that's how bad. Peterson, tell me, maybe I'm wrong, but unions don't like love going on strike. It's not like their first reaction. It's not like a knee jerk, like, oh, the negotiations aren't going well, we're going on strike right now. Like, this is the last fucking resort, right?
Well, yes. Some unions are more strike happy, I would say.
But after twice in 15
But
years,
here's the
that makes
problem
me
with
very
going on
mad.
strike, because the union itself, union leadership will say for everything, we're going on strike. You don't give us what we want, we're going. They always threaten it, but the members have to agree to it, and it is a big commitment for the members. So I knew a lot of union guys that had a separate fund, a savings for if they ended up going on strike, because some of these guys have gone on strike for 6 months and they're not making money for 6 months, right? It's a big
Yeah.
deal. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, we're gonna come whine and complain. We're going on strike and we're mad. Like, it is a big commitment for them, and so they have to be ready. So it's often not a decision that is made lightly by the members of the union.
Yeah. So, very interesting.
No, Steven, reinstall Steven on the chat. Just give us the worst. He said Chat GPT can write these shows now. Oh,
That's
no.
what we want. We want ChatGPT writing everything.
I don't want any of that.
Dude, I'll tell you,
Oh my
Trent
gosh.
had ChatGPT write an intro the other week, and it was Kafka-esque. It was a
Yeah.
bit surreal. I didn't like it. It made me feel deeply uncomfortable, and we
Can
really
I
are
just
not going
give
to do that.
one, I would say, other side take on this? I'm kind of glad that the writers are going on a strike, not for the writers' sake, like, oh, they're going to get whatever they want coming back, right? No, because these writers were getting a little uppity. Let me explain. Halo, they ruined Halo.
Oh,
They
shit.
purposefully, and they were real cocky about it. They were like,
You're saying it's good for them to take a minute. Just take a
yes.
break.
Like, okay, everybody, they're getting real. They're like, oh, we know better. Dude, the Henry Cavill thing with The Witcher,
Yeah.
that was the writers. That was
That's
the writers
true.
all getting uppity and like, oh, no, we know better. And he's like, no, this is not good.
Why don't you
And they're
guys
like,
take a seat
yeah,
in
take
like a folding
sit
chair
down, take a breather.
with a picket sign and just fucking chill there?
Hey, maybe,
Okay.
listen, maybe it's good for you guys to suffer for a minute because you need to get off your high horse.
You know what you should be writing is a couple chants. The things that you shout into a megaphone.
That's
Why don't
right.
you stick to that for a fucking month or so?
This just in, the writer's strike has the best slogans you can possibly imagine. These guys are just writing bangers for their slogans.
Yeah, but don't. Hopefully, they don't get into season 3 of slogans because then they're just gonna go all over the fucking board. Not gonna understand any of them.
This slogan has nothing to do with writing.
Doesn't make any sense. We have to watch season 2 first. Oh, whatever. Let's move on to news riblets. Just some riblets of news.
Here we go. Got a sound for it now.
Riblets. Yeah, so news riblets is where we just lick the sauce off our fingers and we
Our
just
little fingies, just a little bit.
This is a little riblet of news. And we just blast through these stories that are not worth reading beyond the headline, honestly. First one here. This is a Blursy nominee. People will not stop posting the entire Mario movie on Twitter. I'm not shitting you. This article was written, and they said
Thanks, Elon.
They said at the time they'd written the article, this had been viewed 9.3 million times. And the article was posted 2 days after that.
Oh my gosh.
So 9 million people just watched the entire Mario movie, not on a fucking sketchy streaming site, not on Mega Video. They didn't torrent it. They watched it on goddamn Twitter.
What a
fucking
weird place. Am I going to start watching shows on Twitter? Is this a thing now?
You can watch anything. Yeah, I'm going to watch all the super episodes of The Office on Twitter now. Fuck Peacock. It's all there. Next up, Ukraine is now using Steam Decks to control machine gun turrets.
They just like the hand feel of the Steam Deck. All right, that big screen makes a big difference for them.
Dude, I've been killing people on my Steam Deck in digital games, and now I just feel like the shift is easier.
Wait, is this like an Ender's Game situation? They're like, here, play this game and see how many of those guys you can kill.
Is that why they're killing so many Russians? Because they don't realize they're people?
Yeah, they're just like, this game's easy.
They're like, this is merciless. The Ukrainians are like wiping out the Russian army, and they're just like, yeah, it's a fun game, right?
High score.
Very fun. High score. Oh, no. This is basically it's a machine gun, not on a tripod. It's just a tripod. It's a tripod, basically. I think you can just slip anything in there that you want to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Sabre or Sabre, depending on
Sabre,
how
I
you
think.
read it. Uh, and it was built through crowdfunding in Ukraine, starting in 2014 when Russia invaded Crimea, I believe. So that's kind of a fun, what can we do thing. When
This whole story is like very dystopian to me. We
but fucking sick,
crowdsourced
right?
this
We
weapon,
crowdsourced a
and now we're
video
using our
game,
video
machine
games to play.
gun, turret holder. Bring your own turret. We just 3D printed it. Just shove your gun in there, and you can use your Steam Deck, and you can switch between the Steam interface where you're playing a literal video game. You're playing like Stardew Valley, and then you just tap the button twice, and you're killing a Russian. Fucking crazy. I love it. I love it. Also, if we're speaking about how the future is weird as fuck, Fortnite is now officially an Olympic esport.
Dude, Ninja's got to get that gold, baby.
Get that gold.
Dude, I
Ninja's
don't like this
get...
because now my kids think they have something to aspire to.
No, your kids are going to tell you they don't need to do sports anymore.
I'm going to be in the Olympics for Fortnite. Honestly, probably more competitive than most sports in the Olympics. You'd be like, yeah, I could go get pretty good at curling. I can't get good at Fortnite. This is too much.
I feel like I
especially if
could
it's
get
building mode.
closer on bobsledding than I could get on Fortnite. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think bobsledding would be the sport. If you guys, if any of you, I got to put this out there. If any of you guys are reasonably athletic, like you can sprint, I don't know, maybe like a 12-second 100-meter, you're really dedicated, you work your ass off. Honestly, you could probably get on a bobsled team. The middleman, they don't do anything. You just run off and then you just sit in the sled and just get your ass rocked.
Have you guys seen Cool Runnings? It's as easy as that.
Dude, Sanka Coffee got in the fucking Olympics. You guys can do, guy can't even do a pull-up without John Candy sitting there pulling on his legs. Like, you guys can do
John
this.
Candy, okay?
John Candy had to lift him up. So yeah, Fortnite, easy in. Next up, Unity has laid off 600 more employees, closing half their offices. This is 8%. This represents 8% of the company's total headcount, of which there are now 7,000 fools remaining. This is funny. This is a quote from Unity CEO John Riccitiello to the Wall Street Journal. He said, quote, "It's all about setting ourselves up for higher growth." What? So you lay people off? No, dude, you just don't get it. You lay people off so you can hire people to lay off later. That's what growth is.
Well, look, these people were just bleeding the company dry cash. They're leeches. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do more with less.
Yeah.
And then once we get to that sweet spot, we're gonna hire a whole bunch of entry-level employees. Oh, it's gonna be so cheap. We're just gonna bang
Standard
out so much
operating
stuff
procedure.
you don't even know.
Yeah, we're farm out of fresh grads, farm out of India.
Dude, we go to India. No problem.
Yeah, we'll go to India. And then this final thing is Peterson's. Apparently, there was a RuneScape bet that ended with a player pouring hot coffee on, in, or around his butthole.
I had to put this in there because of the ridiculousness of it. First of all, it's RuneScape. There are rivals in the game RuneScape.
First of all, there's players in the game RuneScape.
And then enough
They're
to have
enough.
a rival. And he's like, oh, hey, this guy, my rival, will never get this drop. I guess there's a drop, and it's like, 1 in 188,000 chance of getting it or something. And then, of course, the guy gets it, and the penalty was he had to pour scalding coffee on his culo. And so that's what he did. And why?
I guess I don't understand what compels people to follow through on these particular types of bets. I bet Jackson something probably 10 years ago. And the loser had to watch the Adam Sandler film Jack and Jill.
Okay. All right. Just pour some
and
hot
Jackson
coffee on my
fucking
butt.
lost.
I don't even care.
Jackson lost. I don't remember what the bet was at all. All I remember is two things. Jackson lost, and he was supposed to watch Jack and Jill, and he didn't.
Wow.
And look, dude, that's what I'm saying. Jackson was like, he gauged the outcome of the bet to be asinine enough that he didn't have to follow through. And it was just watching Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler, which now, in hindsight, I'm actually kind of fucking curious about. I'll be honest. Well, I find that streaming somewhere and watch that because that sounds terrible. But somebody across the fucking internet that has no commitment to this. I lived with Jackson and I bugged him about it on the daily. I was like, "Hey, you watched Jackson and Jill yet? You watched Jackson and Jill yet?" He's like, "No." He's like, "No, just fucking avoided it." This guy literally could just like log off or just block this person and never have to hear from him again. Instead, heats up a pot.
I'm a man of my word. I am doing this.
Did he
Baby,
film it?
pour that coffee on me.
He film it?
I'm sure. Come on. I'm sure he filmed it. I don't want to watch it, if I'm being honest.
I guess there's some YouTuber that's like really big and popular now. Probably one that you would know, Peterson, because of your kids. And he has this video out there, and I saw a still from it where one of his friends shits on him on his butt. He's like laying, or I think he shit on his friend's butt. Like one of them's laying upside down with their like back against a wall, and then the other one's like kind of crouching backwards on a toilet, and he's like shits like standing up on his friend. And now that he's like big, like Mr. Beast big kind of or whatever, he's like, God, I really regret doing that. What is it with these people? What social filter did they miss where they're like, you know what? Stuff on my butt for the internet. I need to pour it on there.
Look, it's the year of butt stuff. Let's just, what else can we do? This was supposed to be a riblet.
Are we reaching like just like the end of like human civilization? This is what it looks like when we do stuff like this.
I think this is
where we've run out of ideas.
I think if you read history, the fall of the Roman Empire happened right after the butt stuff.
You can see etchings
of them pouring things onto their butts,
pouring stuff on each other's butts, pooping on each other's butts. It's a whole thing in Rome, as
just
in
the
America.
Weird butt stuff. And so this is where we're at. We're like, guys, we're like within a decade.
Good luck explaining this to all the mutant children around the trash can fires because they will not understand this stuff.
They're like, but why the butts?
Why the butts? You mean this thing on the side of my body? Yeah.
This thing over here? Oh, yeah. Where's yours?
Well, back in the day, ours used to come out the back before all the radiation.
How did you watch it?
And the microplastics. You used to poop out of a different hole than you ate out of. You know, it was really nice.
This is. I'm so sorry I put this story in here.
So this is what you did.
This is my fault.
Kudos.
Kudos is our positivity segment. Like to give a shout out to something we like, something that brings us joy, something we don't want to pour in our assholes.
Whoa, speak for yourself.
I have 2 Fudos this week. I honestly have 3, but I'm saving one. It has been an excellent summer for temporary or one-off snack.
So great. So good.
Oh, we are living it. I think, dude, honestly, this is going to sound wild. I think this is a post-pandemic bump. I think all the different flavors, all the experimental things, all the things that they couldn't get out because of different whatever inventory shortcomings, where they couldn't actually get these products out. They finally came due, and they got these all coming out. Well, 2 that I've had so far that have both made me very happy. So we got 2 Fudos. The first one is Baked Lay's Buffalo Chicken Sandwich. Okay, so Baked Lay's don't do experimental flavors. They have the same. In fact, they have gone from having
forever.
more flavors to fewer, because if you remember, you used to be able to get sour cream and onion ones, and then you can only find those at like Subway in the little bags now. You can't find a big bag of them anywhere. They don't sell them. You can't even find them on Amazon. So Baked Lays have been shrinking their product line, so it's really rare to see one. This buffalo chicken sandwich, you kind of think it's going to be like a buffalo, just the buffalo
chicken.
sauce.
Yeah, whatever.
It's buffalo chicken sauce. It's just a lazy way of just calling it buffalo chip. Nope. In the picture, it's so silly. The buffalo chicken sandwich has cheese, like a slice of yellow cheese on it, and pickles. And that's what this fucking tastes like. You get the cheese and the pickles in this. And guys, I don't know if you guys like this, but I love a pickled chip. But what I like more is a chip that has a little bit of pickle in it, but not the whole
pickle chips.
thing.
So I used to get pickle
'em.
chips and eat them with a different flavored chip at the same time.
Have you ever had the backyard chips from Trader Joe's?
No.
Oh man, it's like a mix of like 5 chips. It's amazing. It's like barbecue, sour cream and onion, salt and vinegar, and it's like all in the same, and pickle. It's like all in the same bag. So yeah, that's basically what you were doing on your own.
Yeah.
So anyway, the buffalo chicken sandwich is fantastic.
I want to try this so bad. JD texted this to me, and I was immediately in. Okay, this is a buffalo. I love buffalo sauce, buffalo cheesy and pickly chip.
Oh, and a little spicy. Obviously, it's buffalo.
Yeah,
but it's not mild buffalo. It's like a mild medium.
I like a little spice on there.
Yeah, you won't think it's spicy. You would be like, "Oh, Lily eats these. Oh, my toddler eats these."
I like the little tingle, okay, but it's not, it's not even gonna stop.
Well, it's not
gonna stop me from shoving them in.
Yeah, this will not stop. This tingle will not stop the shoving. And the other foodos that I've got from this delightful thing is the Mountain Dew Summer Freeze.
Yes, it's so good.
Oh, finally, Mountain Dew has gotten a good flavor out the door,
especially a summer flavor, because they have bombed the last 2 years.
Spark was last year's. It was like a lemonade something, raspberry lemonade.
Oh, that one was okay, but they do
sounds good.
But they usually do like a 4th of July looking one, and this is like that one where it had like the rocket pop on it, and it was all the flavors. It was like, this is too much. No, the Summer Freeze one this year is it's so good.
It tastes like a melted rocket pop. So it tastes like a melted popsicle, one of those red, white, and blue popsicles. And I just can't. It's so fantastic. I found it. Peterson found it at Smith's. And I have 2 Smiths that are like behind the times. Like the buyers at my Smiths, when they go to the buyers meetings, the buyers from Peterson Smiths make fun of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Peterson Smith's buyers is like he's like a 6'7" guy. He's like stacked, and he speaks like 8 different languages. And my buyers, are none of those things.
Fanny, who is 87 years old.
Yep. And she doesn't have a cell phone. Just straight up. And it's not like a social
pocket computer.
Yeah. So I was desperately looking for it at my Smith's. I finally found it. But it was in the full calorie, so I got it because I was like, gotta get it. And it was amazing. I loved it. And then I found the diet, and I loved that too. And you know what? This is odd. I like the full calorie better on this one.
Oh, nice. I like the zero one a lot on this. But honestly, I've tried them both, and they're both fantastic. In the sugar one, the full sugar, I was enjoying it the more I was drinking it, so I couldn't stop. I was like, I'm getting more and more into this soda. And same with my son, who loves Mountain Dew. He loves this one. This is a great flavor.
This is the best one they've done. Okay, so let's see. The last couple that I can think of at the top of my head was the Spark, which is the raspberry lemonade. And then they had that thrashed apple, which was obviously apple. And then they had one that was the major melon, which was watermelon.
Yeah.
All of these are garbage.
See, I didn't think they're garbage. I thought they were pretty good. But
I had one, and then I was done with them though. Like
I drink the raspberry lemonade one a lot. I do like that one. The other 2, I don't drink a lot of at all.
I don't like Spark. I thought they were all okay. None of them were like made me go out and buy more like this stuff. Maybe it's just because it's blue and I'm a fucking sap. If you
You
dye
love
something
blue flavor.
I'm heading for it. But I'll tell you, my pee has been very blue this week.
Well, it's not supposed to turn your pee blue, JD. That's probably a different thing.
Well, it's better than black, okay?
It's gotten a shade lighter than it was last week, so I'm
It
okay
stopped
with that.
being black. Do you have any kudos?
Yeah, I've
or-
got just a kudos, not a fudos. I finally watched it and finished it. Mandalorian, the new season.
Is it good?
It is very good. It's very good. It feels different than the other ones. It feels more serious. The episodes are they're a little bit longer. It was almost like they were like, wait, why we're streaming service? Why the freak do we got to
We're
stick
doing
to like a
25-minute
20?
episodes.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like 45-minute episodes. But they were good, and it felt more serious. It felt like there was more. Maybe it's because there was more like hand-to-hand combat killing. Like Mando stabbed several people and like
that.
So yeah,
Fucking nice.
and Giancarlo Esposito comes back. He's back in it. It was very good. It did almost feel like they were trying to wrap up the Grogu Mando storyline a little bit, but they left a couple other danglers out there. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Once I started, I just banged through it, couldn't stop. Absolutely enjoyed it. So if you're kind of waiting like I am and like JD has been,
Yeah,
it is definitely this is the time to watch it, especially going into the writer's strike.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. This is a perfect one. Like I said, it's just been kind of overwhelmed with how many new things there are to watch, and I'm like, fucking sweet. Watch Mando now.
You'll catch up. Yeah, you're not gonna regret watching it. It's very good. And
would you rank this 3 seasons? This is the 3rd season, right? So give me the ranking.
I think season 1 was the best just because I mean, look, that was a fantastic. This is hard. They've all been good for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I can. I think this is tied with season 2.
That's an answer in and of itself.
Different, and it's not worse. I'll tell you that because a lot of times season 3 starts to get a little rough.
Yeah,
it is not worse, and it just has a different feel. It's a little bit grittier, I would say. More stuff happens that you're like, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that. Sweet.
I'll get there.
Peterson asks. Peterson asks. Ask Peterson a question. I don't know.
Ask. I think I like that Trent got the I don't know in there. It's still sing-songy.
This was an impromptu one, if you remember. And so that's why
half of the stupid fucking bumpers we make.
It was like, I'm just using it. I'm using it.
Okay, well, Peterson asks was segment where Peterson asks a question, so take it away.
Okay, so we've got the writer's strike, which we've talked about a little bit. So that got me thinking, what would it look like if the video game industry went on strike?
I love this question. So some clarifying questions. Do you see this as kind of a generalized strike, or this goes beyond just like a couple testers striking?
This is not testers. This is
you're saying the whole industry.
I would say if the devs went on strike would be the most crippling. You know what I mean? Because there's always something like manufacturing, right? The line workers go on strike and everything comes to a standstill. The devs go on strike, it all stops.
Okay. I think
so
right off.
What would that look like? What would that look like for you?
Okay, right off the top, I think what's going to happen is mindless gamers are going to have to figure out something differently. They're going to have to go outside or something. That is the people that buy a new FIFA game every single year, a new Call of Duty game every year. They're going to go to the shelf and it's not going to be there. And they're not going to know why. I think that a lot of these gamers...
there's a handful at like GameStop on like a August morning. There's like 4 or 5 European guys camping out, and the guy shows up like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, just here to buy FIFA, like we do every year."
Yeah,
like there's no FIFA this year.
Did you not hear that? There's a strike. There's probably so many people that are like, "What happened to my favorite show? Why did Prison Break suck so bad in season 3?
What happened?
That's so weird." I think there will be people. Those would be the people that wouldn't know what was going on, but were like affected by it later, and like, whoa, extraordinarily affected by it.
Yeah, like this ruined their year.
This was their show. This was their soap. And they were like, what the fuck? And it didn't happen. So I think that's a big one.
Like it would be like if the Bachelor producers went on strike. I would have a really rough year. I'll say that. I'll just have a really tough time.
My God. You'd have to go watch like the subpar ones on Netflix and just be like, wow. It's just the thing is that The Bachelor gets that level of that Goldilocks zone of trashiness where it's not too trashy like the Netflix ones, but it's trashy enough that I feel like I can judge people in the show.
There we go. That's it.
Without feeling like a dick, because I'm like, I mean, clearly you're shit. Like, look at you. Listen to the things you're saying.
Reinstall. Steven makes a good comment, and I'm posting people's comments if you're seeing that. Makes a good comment.
Yeah, it's cool.
Then this is what I think would happen as well. This would be the golden age for indies, because who would go on strike would be AAA gamers, right? Not these guys making an indie game in their basement, right, in their spare time. We would get some outstanding indie games out of this, and they would be not only that, but they would be highlighted. They'd be at the forefront, because every once a year, we get one indie game that just makes $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
But we would have a handful of indie devs suddenly pulling in huge download numbers, huge
because the money would
numbers.
Just be there.
People want to play something new.
Money, and people have to spend it. We saw what happened during the pandemic. Like, there is an infinite pool of money earmarked for video games, and if it's not spent on one video game, it will be spent on another. It doesn't just like dry up. And so it would 100% go to indies.
Snorgle in the comments makes a good point. He's arguing that it is currently the golden age of indie games, and I would say he's right for the reasons that the video game industry would go on strike. Because it takes too long, it's not cost effective enough. There's too many things that they're hamstringing themselves by executives trying to have a say in the story and the gameplay and all that.
So that's an excellent point, though, to Snorgle's point about it being if we're currently in a golden era and they got a boost, what happens at that point? Like, I think they get a huge monetary boost and a huge fan base boost, well, they're already building a foundation of like a really awesome golden era. What is it, the platinum era? When indie games get more money than God, and they have, because that, we talk about it on this podcast all the time that if we have more venues and vehicles for indie developers to make money, like Game Pass, etc., it will, and what Team 17 does. Things like that, it will encourage more indie devs. It will encourage more unique games. We'll get more games out there. This is just, I feel like it'd just be like a shot in the arm for that.
On the side of AAA games, though, AAA games would take a massive hit if the developers went on strike for, let's say, 4 months. Say they go on strike. That's a pretty long strike. They go on strike for 4 months. That sets them back, honestly, 2 years. They have lost so much progress. Everything goes to a standstill, and then you get people back in and developing. This isn't a production line. You don't just start the line back up and people start going again. They have to get back in. This is coding. Figuring out what was I working on? What are we doing? Yeah. Who's still here? It would be devastating. And honestly, my take, we've been covering this for a long time. My take is that this is what we need to shake up the games industry. Something is not working on the AAA side. They are constantly struggling. Everything's delayed. There's crunch. The morale is bad.
And the games coming out are fucking Redfall.
The games coming out are
or it's
not
Jedi
good.
Fallen Order, and it doesn't work on one of its 3 platforms.
Honestly, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had, I would say, more just absolute dumpster fires than we've had bangers. And before that, I felt like there was 2 or 3 bangers every year. and I feel like we're getting one or two, and even some of those are riddled with bugs. It's a mess, and something has to change at this point.
So let me tell you what happens at the end of your prediction. So the AAA studios get an absolute beating. But I promise you, this becomes a general strike in the video game industry, and I absolutely guarantee you that one of the outcomes is that AAA games will clock in at $80 by the time the strike ends. Because what you're talking about, all that overhead, all that additional stuff they're adding, including responding to the demands of the striking employees, which will be higher salaries, better benefits, things that cost money. They'll be like, well, that's it. Games are $80 now. There was a strike. Games are $80. That's just how it is. That will 100% be a result of any generalized strike in the gaming industry. Games will take a $10 to $20 jump, and game studios will take that as an opportunity to do that and just be like, our hands are clean, man. Hey, at least you don't live in Australia because that's what you're paying already.
It will be on it, and I feel like that would just be an excuse. That would be a capitalist excuse, really. Because
I'm not saying they need to.
Here's the HR side of me, because I would, and obviously, like, we know this, right? But it is cheaper to make employees happy and to keep them at your company than to just quarterly have turnover. But it's that long-term cash.
I want that quarterly
that
bump, baby.
Yes, versus that quarterly bump, and that's where it would be a big problem. And so, yeah, I honestly at this point, look, I am not like a pro-union guy, right? But this is just what we need at this point, because they have been mistreated for decades.
So there's a good point, and you already mentioned this when you talked about the writer's strike and you talked about these things, is if this is needed and this is to happen, I think this would require an unbelievable amount of donations to keep it running. I think these organizations, these union organizations would have to have donation pages running, and they'd need to rely on gamers voting with their wallet and putting $5-10 in or whatever to support these guys so they could continue to live and feed themselves during however long it would need to take to get this strike completed. I think one thing you kind of touched on also a little bit in terms of the workers and how the ramp up time, and this is not something you can start up and go. One thing I think that would take a massive hit, and the more so than AAA because this is a larger umbrella, but live service games would collapse. And honestly, possibly would never recover and might die entirely. That's my crazy prediction, is that a strike of this level that cut off all live service games just permanently right now, even if it was only a week-long strike, I think if they manage to break the habit of everybody that's on these live service games daily, logging in, habitually checking whatever progress they need to make for the day, the week, the month, and they break that habit. And if, like I said, if that happens for a week, it's one thing. But if this is a strike that lasts for 6 months and they're live service games that they expect you to play, even I'm talking games like World of Warcraft, but lesser games like Marvel Snap would die. It would be dead forever. It would never fucking come back, and all that investment would dry up. Larger games, smaller games, I think to the point that it would just become something that you could not rely on as a game studio as a revenue model anymore because it died. That would be my favorite fucking thing. If
I don't think that would happen. I think lots and lots and lots of live service games would be dead, like you said. But what I do think would happen then is that first really great live service new game that comes out would
start it all back up
so
again.
much money too.
Yeah,
that first good one, man, that sucks people in, they would just pull in.
I wanted dailies. I've been missing dailies. That's like me. Like I miss fucking all you can eat buffets, or not those. What are those? Salad bars.
Salad bars.
I miss salad bars. I can't believe I'm saying that. I miss live service games. I miss dailies.
Okay, but you are saying I do like dailies. I love
You would
dailies.
miss
I get
them.
sad when games don't have them. The games that I play regularly, I want a daily mission. So I do think but I think some of the really, really popular ones would make it back. I think Rocket League would make it back. I think
Does that count as a live service? I guess that does count as a live
yeah.
service game.
I think a lot of those, I think Fortnite would make it back. So I think a lot of those types of games would make it back. But
I don't
think
know, dude.
anyone
if
who's not
you think kids, kids your age, they stop playing Fortnite for 4 months and then it fires back up. Do you think they're going back to it?
They do, and here's why. Because and what I've seen with my kids and their friends is it's very cyclical. They will go hard on Fortnite for 6 to 9 months, and then they don't play it for 3 months. We haven't even played this new season. I'm like level 4 or something, and we were hitting level 200. And for no reason, we just kind of bounced off it, and we'll be back. We'll be back, and so it is cyclical for them. They would be back. They'd come back in just to see what was new. And then, but it was only the big games would make it. Only those big juggernauts would make it. Everyone else
clear the field. It would absolutely clear the field.
Totally clear the field, which would be great.
What? Do you have any more predictions? I just have one more.
Nope.
This is my favorite one. There's some studio out there. Some fucking studio. I don't know if it's going to be a Ubisoft subsidiary or something like Eidos Montreal. Somebody is going to hire scabs and make the worst fucking shithole video game you have ever seen. It's going to be like that couple weeks when the NFL hired scab refs. And it was like watching fucking Three Stooges on the field. And there were legitimate games that were like lost on those dumbass scab refs. And then people were like fucking freaking out. That is who I want to make a video game for an already studio that's not doing great. And they're just like, fuck it. We just need to find some devs that aren't part of the union and don't mind crossing picket lines. And it's just like the worst of the worst, just like outright criminal scum. And they make just the worst game ever. And I want to play that scab video game.
It would be rife with right-wing political messages too.
Why? I just know it would. You just fucking know it would be.
1,000%. Okay, listen, JD, I have worked in heavily unionized environments, and the people who you would classify as a scab, right? Who the people who would cross the picket
rolling
line,
coal.
They are absolutely like the most rightest of the right wingers that I knew. I'm talking like these are the people who during their lunch break were looking up we're looking up looking at guns online because they're like, oh gosh, I love this so much, like almost to an offensive level. I'm not kidding. I can think of like 3 off the top of my head. This is a real thing. So the scab video game would be bad, and it would be hilariously political.
Like, yes, that's right.
It would be the opposite of how like a lot of games now are like borderline, like this is crazy political and stuff like that. It would be everything that they hated about any sort of like wokeness in video game. They would be like, I am doing the opposite of that.
We're talking the newest Atlas Shrugged movie, but part 2. That's the what I want from this video game. Where they changed all the actors and they had no funding for it. That's what I want.
All the actors are like middle-aged white guys too, like older actors that you knew, right? This is what it would be. That's what it would be.
It's Randy Quaid.
Can I get Quaid back?
Can we get Quaid?
Oh man. Yeah. 3-bit. Studio game. We got that cereal fame because you saying our names. We in the studio playing some Foodio games. That's right, it's Foodio games. Yeah, we playing Foodio games.
And drinks. I always put the and drinks in part there because that's the clip I had when I was running the show.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
and
what
drinks.
I had. So that's what we always use, just video games and drinks.
Oh, that's great. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. I don't know why you put that one in there, but that's what we ran
Because
with
we
for like
did a
6
drink
months.
specific one.
I know. I don't know why. So video games is
So
this.
great.
It's our favorite segment, probably, honestly.
We love doing it. It's always good, always funny. Some controversial takes get out there.
Well, Trent's not here, so it's actually probably going to be pretty clean.
Yeah.
No, like, I don't drink water, it offends me kind of takes. Video games, we compare video games to food. Very simple. This one, even simpler, cheeseburger ingredients. Yeah, phoning it in this week. That's
It's
what we're at.
summertime, baby. This is
Eat a cheeseburger and
time.
shut the fuck up. We're doing
Break
video
out that grill. Make yourself a cheeseburger.
Guys, can I tell you a pro move? Like, this is not a gourmet move. This is a pro move. You go to Costco and you get those frozen patties, just the quarter-pound patties, whatever. This is for you. You're not like a grill master. You're not like, I just want a burger that tastes like it came off the grill and it's like really good. Get those frozen patties, and then you turn your grill up to like high, pretty fucking high, basically. And you put one of those frozen patties right on the fire, and then you just chill. And then you wait, and once you start seeing sweat buddies on the top of it, and it's starting to just kind of sweat there, and you see the liquid on the top, that's when you flip it. And then when you flip it, that bottom should be ready to go. You put the cheese on there, and once the cheese is melted, you're Gucci. And that thing, you just slap that on a bun, and you have a fresh grilled burger. And honest to God, this process I'm describing takes you 6 minutes.
Yep, it's so fast. That's how I cook all my burgers, if I'm being honest, because when I make burgers, I'm making burgers for 6 people. And so I'm like, dude, I'm not rolling a patty for every single one of these people. They don't care. Half of my kids would eat garbage burgers. They don't care.
I go to the butcher. I get like the perfect ground chuck, and I mix it with tri-tip and sirloin, and I'm like, oh yeah, and there's a little bit of brisket in there.
And then you're like, oh, put a little Worcestershire sauce in there before I mix it. A little bit
and
of
crack an egg so they're binding just right. Like no one fucking cares. Just get that Costco bitch and slap that on there. Like if I'm going to, if I want to
throw them on there frozen, does not matter.
I will pay some motherfucker to make me a fancy burger. I'm not doing that shit. Anyway, it's cheeseburger season, motherfuckers, and that's where we're at. We've reached the TVMA part of the podcast, the Nick After Night part.
We're getting sizzly with these cheeseburgers.
Sizzly. So we've got, I don't know, I just threw a bunch of ingredients on here. I'll start with the big one. Kick us off, meat.
Your big one's different than my big one, so go ahead. Meat.
Mine is meat.
Okay.
And for me, this is top to my head. So I went with kind of like word association speed on these. I didn't really overthink them. For me, the meat is controller support is beef. So I want it on every game. Basically, I go to it. That's what I expect. I should say, not that I want, but that I expect. If I go and I order a cheeseburger, I expect it to come and I expect it to be beef. If I go get a game, for the most part, I expect there to be controller support. If I'm playing a game like my Dice of Destiny pick, which is a real-time strategy, a top-down, a city builder, any game that's obviously designed for a mouse and keyboard, more specifically just a mouse, I get it. I get it if it doesn't have controller support. That's like if I go to a vegan restaurant or a vegetarian restaurant, I know I'm not getting a beef cheeseburger.
Not getting a beef patty.
And I don't mind
their
those.
veggie patty's probably better anyway. At that,
I love a veggie patty. I have a whole big spiel about how a beef patty is just one flavor. A veggie patty is somewhere in like dozens sometimes, and I love that. I think that's a kind of a cool thing. I also love turkey burgers. Jenna makes an absolutely phenomenal turkey burger. I've
never had a turkey burger.
Really?
Never.
Maybe we'll have to have you over and you can have one of Jenna's turkey burgers. So I like veggie burgers, turkey burgers. So again, I don't mind.
Jenna's batting 1,000. Can I say on everything I've ever eaten that Jenna's cooked, she's batting 1,000. She just has her things and she's really good at them. It's weird.
Yeah, dude, it's great for
some
me.
people just get it.
So
here's the thing.
That's me. Controller support is beef.
Okay, I didn't do necessarily the meat because I was like, that's like the game. There has to be a game in there. It's not a burger.
Yeah.
But the most important thing for me on a burger, and this won't surprise you if you've ever heard me talk about burgers, your beef has to be seasoned. Do not give me unseasoned ground beef. That is Wendy's. Wendy's hamburger patties are unseasoned. In fact, my daughter came home with a Wendy's burger the other day. She was out with her friends, and she didn't want it. And I literally I took a few bites, had to open it up and put seasoning salt on it because it would just taste like nothing. So I know not everyone agrees with me on that, but for me, seasoning your meat is essential. You get those frozen patties. Honestly, the minimum you have to do, seasoning salt. Just do it. It will make a massive difference.
I should have clarified. Then I feel like such an ass because what I do is I have a seasoning mix that I use. It's like a local guy. Yeah, I was selling it on like a table at Reams.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking. It's called Rick's.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like a standard seasoning. You can get burger seasoning. I get burger seasoning. It's like onion and garlic, whatever. But what I do with those Costco patties, because they have a million holes in them. Whatever the manufacturing process leaves them like, with a bunch of holes, like treated lumber, basically.
You're spot on.
I don't fucking know why, but I take that thing and I shake it till I almost can't see the meat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it will soak and kind of like fall into the holes, but then you flip that bitch and a
lot
of
it comes
off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I season my burgers like I said, so you can't see. And then when I flip it, I'll put a shit ton of seasoning, and then I put the cheese on top to hold it down there. And then so I season the fuck out of your burgers.
My mother-in-law was like, "Oh, I came home and she was like, hey, I bought stuff for you to make burgers. You make the best burgers." That's literally all I do different is I just season it because she'll make a hamburger patty for herself and not season it at all. And I'm like, look, it makes a huge difference. Just season it a little bit.
You think restaurants taste so much better than your food that you're just missing two things: salt and butter, and just put them on until it tastes good. That's it. That's the magic ingredient. Wow, you figured it out.
Here's another cooking tip. When I cook a steak on a grill, it can get very hot in there and very dry. After I flip it, I put a slab of butter
slap that bitch
on top
butter,
of it.
Keep it
I
nice
just
and
put it
wet.
on there. Yeah. Okay. So
it'll just go through it and drip in. It's all good.
The seasoning on your burger patty for me is vision. How many games have we seen fail because they lacked vision in the development process? Anthem is a great one, right? They've just got a basic idea.
Redfall, absolutely.
They just lack
no seasoning.
Lack vision. It is an unseasoned burger, and everyone will taste that, right? All you got to do, go into your game with having a vision. If it's created with a overall vision, that's when games come out, and you're like, this is a great game. Hogwarts Legacy absolutely had a vision going into it. They knew what they wanted. They did it, and they did it right. They did it well. They made a bunch of money.
But I think like with seasoning, you can't just do salt and pepper though.
No,
like what you're describing, like Hogwarts Legacy had a little bit of like cayenne in there. Like you gotta season it.
Yes,
you can't
not just salt and pepper. Listen, burger meat is the worst of the beef.
Oh,
so you need to.
It's all ground up for a reason, guys.
That's right. You don't want
to. It's
like
when Coors Light's like, get the can super cold. It's so you can't taste it. Same concept.
Yes. So this is, you need to add some real flavor to this meat. So that's the vision for me. So what else you got?
Pickle. Phil's favorite. Pickle is difficulty for me. Okay. It is in a game. You can play any game, and every game has some form of difficulty. Generally, I'm trying to think of games that are like peaceful games, but there has to be some sort of difficulty to it. And for me, that's the pickle, because it's this little sour tartness that cuts through all the flavor, all the salt, all the umami that is in your mouth.
You have to cut through the fat on the meat and the cheese.
So the game's fun. The shooting is so awesome, and I just murk everyone and everything. And it feels good. The sound's amazing. The story's cool. That's all the flavor. That's the cheese, like Peterson said, the salt, the butter, all the meat. But if it's so easy that there's no challenge to it, I'm gonna get sick of it really fucking fast. Yep. So I need that. Just like when you get like a sub, you go to a sandwich place and they just give you that pickle spear, and you need a bite in between every couple bites of sandwich, because that's just like the difficulty. It doesn't have to be hard the whole time, but I need that little bite every now and again to keep the game from just being too much. Gotta cut through it.
So yeah, I did. So for me, pickles are skill trees, and here's why.
I love this
I
game.
love pickles on a burger. It's an essential for me for all the reasons you said. I need that little tart. I need that moisture. I need that juicy. I need that cut through a little bit. But the ratio is important on a pickle. If you put too much pickles on your burger, you are eating a pickle sandwich at this point. All you're tasting is pickle. If it has no pickle, then you're noticing that. You need that right amount of pickle. So listen, some games you put no pickle on it, that's like a game with no skill tree. Have you ever played a game where you're like, this needs like a good skill tree? And we have, didn't we say Hogwarts Legacy needed something like that? But some games you don't have one. The other flip side is the 10 pickles on your burger. And that is the overwhelming skill tree. Think games like oh gosh, what is that? What is that that Diablo game? The one that's like Diablo. Path of Exile. Path of Exile is known for having the most monstrous skill tree you can possibly imagine. It's too much. That is like putting 12 pickles on my burger. It's too many pickles. If I can see the layer of pickle and it's as thick as the meat, like I'm eating a pickle sandwich and they're all over the place. It's a huge mess. And then there are some games who just get it wrong, and that's the sweet pickle. Don't put a sweet pickle on my burger. I don't want the sweet pickle. I want a dill pickle.
And while we're at it, don't put leaf lettuce on my fucking burger, you stupid asshole. Keep the arugula. Take that and just fuck your own face.
Wait, did you do something for lettuce? Because lettuce is on there.
No, I just don't want leaf lettuce on my burger. Shredded, or like I said, fuck your own face. Because lettuce immediately just becomes wilted and stupid. And you take one bite, and if you don't have it at a crispy level, and if your lettuce wasn't picked that day, I'm going to take that bite and then I'm going to pull it all out. And then it's just going to be hanging there on my fucking chin. And I'm just going to be looking like I just face fucked a sandwich.
Hot lettuce is terrible, guys. Lettuce in a
it.
burrito? No, don't put it in there.
Oh.
Hot lettuce is bad.
And while we're at it, don't put asparagus in my breakfast burrito.
What?
I'm sorry. I won't go into that.
That sounds awful.
It was the worst day of
That
my
was
life.
at brunch, wasn't it?
It was at a brunch. It happened in
knew it.
2013, and I still haven't forgotten it.
They
I'm
love
still
asparagus at
I
brunches.
never went back to that place. Fuck off, asparagus eaters. No one likes it. You take your kale, you wrap it in your asparagus, and you can throw it in the garbage.
Wait, can I do lettuce real quick? Because I did one for lettuce.
I love Foodio games.
Lettuce is the user interface, and here's why. Lettuce is not for flavor. You don't add lettuce to a burger for flavor. You add it for texture. And you add it because the best lettuce on your burger, most of the time, you only notice it when it's bad or when it's incredible. If it is cold and crispy and you take a bite, that's when you're like, there it is. There it is. That's why the lettuce is on my burger, right? It's just like user interface. Most of the time, honestly, you don't notice it. It's not adding a lot of flavor until it is. Until you get that sweet user interface where every time you mouse over something, it'll pop up like a description for it. You're like, that's exactly what I wanted. That is the cold, crispy lettuce, that ice cold lettuce. You take a bite and you're like, there, that's what I wanted. That is lettuce for me. Most of the time, honestly, don't even notice it. When it's bad, you hate it and you pull it off and then you complain about it forever. And when it's good, you're like, oh, yeah, I like this.
Yeah. Red Dead Redemption 2 is like spring mix. Their UI is like spring mix. It makes you're just like, why is this here? I wish.
Is there carrots in this? Like,
I
what?
wish you hadn't done this. I got tomato on here. Tomato I've got for colorblind mode.
Oh, there
It's
you
always
go.
it's something I always look out for. And unlike tomato, I always pull the tomato off. I don't. Like
I
a
always do
tomato on my
too.
burger. And just like I'm always looking for it. I'm like, wait, do they have it? Does this have tomato? I'm like, does it have colorblind mode? So I can swap it because I like it more with colorblind mode. I like it more without a tomato. And I also put for bun, I put story or world building because it's the thing
Gotta be
that
there.
holds everything together.
There you go.
Yeah,
Beautiful
'cause-
analogy.
Yeah, just kind of on either ends, just kind of keeps you in it. And then I have one last one. How many you got?
I just got 2 more.
Okay, you do yours.
Okay, sauce is sound design. Sometimes, honestly, it's
Mm.
bland and you don't even notice it, like ketchup. Like,
Yeah,
how often are you eating a burger and you're like, hey,
that's
there's
a really
ketchup
good
on
ketchup.
this. That's really great ketchup.
Yeah.
You never notice it. You just kind of like anticipate that it's there and it's just a part of the flavor. And that's when the sound design is just fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's so good that it makes the burger. Just like there are several games where the sound design is so good that you just can't get over it, how good it is. The music kicks in and you're like, wow. Or the vocals, so their voice acting will kick in and you're like, this is phenomenal, right? That has happened to me. Hades was a great example of that. I was consistently blown away by the voice acting and the lines and how extensive it was. It makes the burger just like it can make the game. That's why they sell game albums or game the game records or the game music
Vinyls.
online.
We have a vinyl of Hollow Knight.
Yep,
because it's
because
that good.
It's that good.
And what was the other one? The Japanese game Ghost of Tsushima. We have the vinyl for that too.
It's like when you get that bourbon sauce on a burger and you're like, oh,
why do you say
this
that?
sauce is
You're like
so
a
good.
Carolina mustard, and you're like, oh man,
Yep.
why doesn't anyone think of you more? Speaking of, that's my last one is mustard.
Oh,
For me, mustard on a burger is like Leisure Suit Larry.
I didn't know where you were going with this, so I'm glad you went
Because
this way.
it's something that if you found out the president of the United States of America was playing it, you'd think that is unpresidential. Just like ordering mustard on your burger. Obama, you fucking fist bumping terrorist, how dare you? Beige suit wearing, coffee cup saluting fuck. How dare you put mustard on your burger? It's one of the weirdest takes. Mustard on a burger is fine, friends. In fact, you can get it mustard fried at In-N-Out Burger, where they just put the mustard on and then slap the whole patty right down onto the griddle. But
Here's how I feel about mustard on burgers, and I don't have one for this, but here I feel that mustard is only good on an appropriate burger. And honestly, if the burger's not great, mustard can redeem it because mustard is overwhelming. Mustard is overwhelming. And so it needs to be there for a reason. I don't just put it on
never
anything.
Not there. You can put ketchup on a burger and forget about it. Mustard, it's there.
You will know.
There.
Oh, you'll know. You'll take a bite
this
and
burger
be like,
has
there's
fucking
mustard here somewhere.
Yup.
There's mustard here somewhere.
You never wonder, does this have mustard on it? You fucking know. Okay, that's all I got. You got any
My
more?
last one, this is for you, just for you. Onions.
Oh, baby.
Onions. Have you ever downloaded
half an onion? Just cut it in half and use it as a bun, and that's how I want my fucking burger.
Have you ever downloaded a game and you boot it up and you're talking to friends on Discord and the game is so loud you can't hear anything? This happens every time. 100% of the time. This is Onions. For me personally, I almost always have to turn it down to make it playable. Just like with Onions.
You're like often tabbing, like, oh, what the fuck? Why is it yelling at? What's this game so fucking loud? Chivalry is so fucking loud.
Oh, and when there's always a cutscene at the beginning you can't skip, and it's so loud, and you're like,
it's the title screen.
Hold on, guys, I can't hear you. I gotta watch this cutscene.
It's the title screen for the game studio, and it's like, and you're like fucking scrambling to alt tab out because your eardrums are bleeding.
This is Onions for me. I like Onions. I need some volume on my games, but I almost always have to go in and pick a couple of them out. I'm the opposite of JD.
Enough.
I know that.
That's
I got to pick
much.
a couple of them off because I don't want to eat an onion sandwich. And that's volume for me. I don't want to go deaf from my game. Yes, I
And
want to hear it.
I've got tinnitus, so if you don't put on enough onions, I can't even hear it.
Honestly, I didn't even know they had sound in the game.
Yeah, you don't start with half an onion. Dude, I go to McDonald's and just order. I'm like, will you put extra onions on there? Like, no, I mean it. And like, you'd have to really let them know with your voice. You're like, no, like extra onions. And every once in a while, you get that guy that's like, oh, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, you want extra onions? And
Oh,
they
I'll
put
give
in
you
a
extra onions.
sarcastic amount of onions on there. And I know because before I unwrap the burger, I'm seeing onions
You
on
can
the outside
smell
of the
it.
wrapper. And it's a little heavier, like higher. And I open it up and I'm like, you guys think you're pranking me. But this is
JD
how
looks
many
at the-
onions I want.
JD looks over, the guy's looking at him, staring at him. JD just looks him in the eyes and takes the biggest bite of the burger, making direct eye contact.
Tears streaming down my face, and I do not break fucking eye contact the whole time. Just like
Like that
just
video that's been around forever
streaming.
of that little
Yeah.
kid who's eating the raw onion like it's an apple.
Yeah,
I think of JD every time that thing comes across my Reddit feed.
it's my favorite fun. It's my favorite food. Just give me onions. That's all I want. Okay, that's it. That would have been way longer with Trent, so you're lucky. We'll do some dice now.
So good though.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be responsible for rolling the Dice of Destiny. A 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. That person then rolls another 6-sided dice with to see how much money they can spend on their game. They find a game then in that genre for that price, pick it, play it, review it. And last couple weeks ago, I rolled a builder game. And of course, as with every time, I found a terraforming game. And I
excuse
picked
to play a terraformer.
a game called Plan B Terraform. It is a top-down hexagonal style board. You get a big planet to play on. So it's a big planet, and you can zoom out and see the whole planet all at once and all the resources over the whole place. And instead of tiles, like I said, there's hexagons, which just makes it a little bit more unique in how you build your your tiles and stuff. And you are terraforming the world. However, I will say I have just barely started to scratch the surface of the terraforming. A lot of time you're spent gathering materials, building factories that can convert the materials into more complicated materials, and then building assembly plants to turn those into buildings. And then you build buildings and you build more buildings. And it's just this endless loop. And it's kind of hard to describe, so I won't bother trying to bore
Anyone
you guys.
who's played these building games, though, I think I mean I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yep.
right?
You gotta farm one thing so you can build another thing, so you can build another thing. The difference with this game is you build supply lines. I guess there's not much of a difference, but you build roads and then you assign trucks that drive along the roads, exactly where they go, what materials they carry, where they stop. It's very nerdy. It's very nerdy in terms of setting up how all of these things flow and how they operate. It's an operations game. And over the course of an entire planet and how you build this, it's entirely up to you. There is a timer going.
Oh no.
Well, it not a timer. I shouldn't say that.
Okay.
There's time, and it just runs, and it doesn't matter. You could just stand up and walk away. Eventually, all your excavators that were mining, they'd mine up all the materials, and all your supply lines would dry up and die, and everything would just kind of stop. But it wouldn't like penalize you. Wouldn't necessarily matter. Nothing bad would happen. You could just get them all started up again, because it happened to me multiple times. I had supply lines dry up, my cities just start shrinking, and then I'd be like, "Oh crap! Why I don't have enough reinforced concrete?" So they stop building, and then I just build it up. You don't have to manage your people, your civilization. They just pop up. There's like a city, and it just starts filling up. And if one of the things that I've absolutely adored about this game that makes it so stress free is that you can build and destroy things at no cost at all. So I was trying to build things to make them like more efficient, and then I was like, crap, let's do this. And you can just build another building if you want to build one building where another building is. Just drop it right on top of the other building. It'll swap it out. The building you just replaced will go back into your inventory. You won't lose it. You not only don't lose materials, you just get the whole building back. Same goes for roads. You build a road halfway across the planet, and then you want to get rid of that road. Whoop, it just goes right back. So that's kind of the thing about this game that I will say, and this is the kind of the crux of my review. I have never in my 35 years of playing video games, I've never run into a game that seemed or felt more dangerous for my ADHD. It feels like just taking a little hit of meth. Like you're like, wow, I shouldn't do any more of this because it is troubling. Give you an example. Today I stood up from the game to go do some yard work that needed to be done today before it got dark, before it rained again. And I stood up, I got my headphones on, I got ready to do yard work. I got my yard work clothes on. I stepped into the computer room to respond to a Discord message, and I sat down, and then I saw on my game, because my game was still up, and I was like, oh, I should just connect these two roadways. That's so easy. Folks, I was sitting there for 2 fucking hours.
Wow.
I sat down to do one thing. I still had my headphones around my neck, my yard clothes on, sitting there in my computer desk for 2 hours. It was horrifying. This game, in terms of, one more thing, just one more thing. Here's the thing. We talked about this with Valheim, right? Where you're like, oh man, I there's like a million tasks, and I just got to cook. So I'll go hunt some boars, and I'm just this close to making this recipe, and so I'll do this thing. Eventually with Valheim, eventually with most games, you reach a point where you realize that the one more thing will actually take you 30 minutes. In this game, more. Yeah, or more. You're like, I have to go to the plains, and I have to kill a couple of skeetos, and I don't know if there's going to be any skeetos there, and that's when you look at the clock. This game, at no point do you take half a second to look at the clock. This game is the Vegas casino of video games. There are no clocks, no windows, no fucking sense of time or space whatsoever, because everything's instantaneous. Like I said, if you could just remove you could clear the whole planet all at once, just every single thing, and just start everything over fresh again, and you wouldn't be that put out, because all of the buildings and materials and everything would just go into your inventory automatically, and you could just start building from scratch. And there's always something more to do. There's always something you're running out on, always something your city could use, always one more material you could build, always one more improvement you can make to that train track. I don't know. I literally refused to play this game before I got on the podcast because I was genuinely concerned I wouldn't be able to take time to plan before we recorded. It is, I'm not exaggerating. This game is a fucking problem for me. And I'm scared shitless of it. I sometimes I have games like this on the background at work. I cannot do this at work. I would be better off playing Valheim or an engaging arcade shooter at work than this game. Like, it's good, guys. I think it's in early access still too. It's got a fully filled out wiki. So that says to me that the fandom is pretty big. So I think this will come out of early access strong with a lot of input from the player base. Already it plays smooth. I think part of the addiction that I'm getting at is because of how intuitive the whole game feels. There was a part where I had way too much oxygen that was piling up, and it was really interfering with one of my builds in one space. So I built a huge oxygen place off in the boonies to store all my oxygen, and I ported it all off. And then I found out that my city was starving for oxygen, And what did I do? It was the easiest thing ever. I selected the transpo line and just clicked swap, and all the trucks just started taking all the oxygen from the depot back to where it needed to go. I didn't set it up that way. I didn't think, oh, well, when I get there, I'll just swap it. It's just so intuitive. And I don't know anything about the team that made this or is working on it. I don't know if it's made by one person or 20 people, but and one other thing, the sauce that Peterson mentioned. Jenna was sitting here. We were watching something while I had it on, and she was just like, I really like the music. The music is phenomenally relaxing, and it just kind of gets you in the mode where you could just sit there and just play this game for like 8 hours straight. It's just like a lazy day and just lose the whole day and not realize it. I don't know what else to say. I really don't.
It sounds almost like a puzzler. I think what seems interesting about this, based on what you're describing, is it seems low stakes, right? You just
No stakes
undo stuff. Yeah.
Like,
And
no
so
stakes.
it's got kind of that, like, you don't have that frantic feel that you get sometimes.
With Farlanders, for example, you run out of materials, your colonists leave, and then they'll come back later. But with that, there's like, you're trying to do things before day 500, before day 100. This game, 70 years have passed. I got up at one point, like, went and made a sandwich while it was running and came back, and it's just fine. Like, you can pause it. You can definitely pause it and make all your decisions when it's paused. And maybe there is a timed mode that I'm missing, and maybe there's more challenging modes where your colonists can
Or maybe
die.
they'll add them later because it still is early access.
Yeah, but the game mode that I'm playing now is just, and I appreciate it because it's with the hexagonal, is that how you say it? With the hexagonal kind of map setup, there isn't necessarily a prescribed way to build anything. I've made me think of Fallout, because Fallout had a central, it was a circle, and it all kind of went out like a spider web. And so building an optimal city became, like Peterson said, a bit of a puzzle. And so building it properly is a bit of a puzzle, and you can take your time and do it properly in this. It can be as complicated as you want. It can be as slow as you want, as fast as you want. It can be hard as you want, or as easy as you want. If you wanted to build a rail line that goes across your whole planet, you could. If you want to keep things really tight and set up, I'm trying to set up manufacturing centers between resource areas, and I'm doing okay at it, but I think I could be doing better at it. And that, figuring out how to optimize those things on my own. Farlanders was cool, but it was a very tiny map. Frostpunk, same thing. A lot of these games are very kind of a limited scope and scale, which is fine, and it's good. The idea of having a whole planet here, and you scroll out and zoom in, and there's no like, oh, on the other side of the planet, I forgot about this town and they're all going to die. It's like, nah, they all just left. It's not a big deal, bro. There's no consequence. You didn't lose anything at all. You could bulldoze the whole town. No one would give a fuck. Like, everyone's cool. So Plan B Terraform, if you like games like, if you like builder games, you like SimCity, but you want even less stress than a game like SimCity, this may be right up your alley. I think it's like, I don't even know how much it is. For me, it's a buy at any price because I love it.
It is $9.99, $10.
It's absolutely buy it at any price. At $10, it's a steal. Wait for it to go on sale. I don't know. If you know, you know. If you like a builder, if you like resource collecting, this is what you need. So that means we got to re-roll.
Here we go.
Who do you want to volunteer for this one? We can volunteer Trent or Jenna.
Let's do Jenna.
Okay, we'll give her 6. You want to give her 5, 6, or just 6?
6.
Okay. And I will be 1, 2. Peterson 3, 4.
Okay.
That's so cool. It even spun really cool before it landed on 6.
Nuh-uh, it's a 6.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go see if she's awake. I don't think she's awake, but let's see.
This is gonna be good.
House is dark, so we
She's
just gotta
out.
do this for her.
She
And
knows.
she's gonna be.
She's watching the stream right now. She turned off all the lights.
That's why it's so dark. That's why she's been laughing so hard. She's our number one fan. Okay, so we're gonna roll our 20 to see what game Jenna has to play or what genre. It's a 10, and a 10 is a Metroidvania. What the shit, ass?
Doesn't she
That
like
is-
Metroidvanias?
That is the very first genre of game she played when she got into games, because she was playing Ori, and then she played Hollow Knight. She has played more Metroidvanias than me at this point.
I mean, she's probably got one on deck right now anyway.
That is so funny.
She's so lucky.
Okay, Metroidvania. That is so wild. That I can't get over that. And then we're gonna see how much she can spend. A 3 is $30.
Okay. That's no problem. She can find a nice indie Metroidvania, no problem.
And she's got her Steam Deck now, so she can play it like a
Perfect.
Game Boy game, just like Metroids deserve to be played. So that's very cool. All right, so next week Jenna will have a pick for us, and then the week after that she will have a review for her Metroid game.
Tight.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. This is almost 2 hours. I don't know why it went so fucking long. It just did.
This is what we do. Okay, just
We didn't plan this one well. Okay.
no one was here to stop us. Usually, Aaron's like, "I gotta go to bed," or Trent's like,
I don't want to
"Oh,
be
gotta
here.
or
You
something."
guys talk so fucking
and
much.
we're like, we're just here to hang out. We're fine. So
We're
this
just
is-
that friend that your mom had that when she called on the phone, you just knew your mom was going to be on the phone for like 30 minutes
That's both of us.
together. What do you think's going to fucking happen? I'm sorry. So to play us out, got a Metropolis from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Somebody stop me. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I got a lot
No,
of
this
songs
is a
left.
good one. I recognize this one.
Ooh, it's so good. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had way better music than Sonic 1. I listened to the whole Sonic 1 soundtrack and I was very underwhelmed. The only good one is the Robotnik song. So, but this one's good. So, anyway, whatever. I'm JD logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK. All right, let me click end.
See you, friend.